guys, thank you for participating in this meeting today. We are going to discuss the climate and culture here at HJ. And I'm going to go over some recommendations that we have all agreed upon to put in place for our school. Alright, so the goal for today is to review the North Carolina Teacher Working Condition Survey data and then the Whitaker's Teacher Empowerment Survey data that was distributed in 2024. And we're going to provide some recommendations for teacher empowerment and improving the overall school's climate and culture. Alright, so the first area that we are going to look at is teacher empowerment. Alright, and so as you can see, based on the distribution of the survey, we have to focus on the areas of teachers feeling like they do not have assistance in determining the school budget, and then they also feel like they do not get to participate in the hiring process. So we need to place emphasis on that so that teachers can feel empowered here at HJ. In regards to leadership, the areas of focus are setting clear expectations for instruction as well as communicating a clear vision. If you look at the data for our school, only 40% of the teachers here agree that the leadership here sets clear expectations, and then only 35% agree that the vision is communicated clearly. So we need to focus on that area as well. Facilities, overall, we are doing a good job. 45% of the teachers agree that the building is clean, so we went a little bit more than 45%, so we need to put some things in place to ensure that the building is clean. When we take a look at resources, only 47.5% of the teachers here in the building agree that instructional materials reflect the very diverse population of students that we have. So we need to make sure that the materials that we are using meets the needs of all our learners. And then only 47.5% of the teachers here agree that the school programs and resources are adequate enough for the special populations. So we need to place some emphasis on the resources that we're using here at the school. Time. All right, we have two areas of focus for time here at HJ. 42.5% of the teachers feel that the non-instructional time provided is sufficient. We want to make sure that we are supporting our teachers. They need to have the non-instructional time to get the things done that they need to be done, but we see that only 42.5% of teachers agree with that statement, so we need to find a way to improve that. And then 47.5% of the teachers feel like the routine paperwork is minimized, so we need to focus on that area as well. Alright, so based on the data from the Teacher Empowerment Survey, for the statement that says teacher has input on professional development offers at the school, only 57% of our teachers agree with that statement. We want that to be a little bit higher. Teachers play a role in the development of the school improvement plan. We see that that's a little bit higher because 77% of the teachers agree with that statement. When we look at teachers play a role in setting school-wide policy, only 43% of teachers agree with that, so that's a focus area. When we look at the school budget and managing the school budget, only 17% of the teachers in this building agree with that. Therefore, we need to focus on the school budget. And then teachers play a role in the hiring process for new teachers, only 30% agree, so that again overlaps with the data from the North Carolina Teachers Urban Survey. Alright, and this is just another visual that pretty much shows the data from the Teacher Empowerment Survey. Alright, so the gap analysis, alright? The current gaps here at HJ, teacher empowerment and teacher leadership. We know that teachers are empowered in the classroom, but they do not feel empowered outside of the classroom. That goes back to the budgeting and the hiring process. Teacher empowerment and clear school leadership, they feel that there's not a clear vision that is shared from admin, and they also feel that there are not clear expectations for instructional practices. All right, facilities and resources, we need some attention with getting the building clean. Time, the amount of teacher paperwork should be decreased. Non-instructional time should be supported, and then the resources available to meet the needs of all our learners, we need to place emphasis there. For recruitment and mentoring, we need to have teachers have more input on the hiring process, and then a little bit more mentor support within the building. And then for teacher leadership and decision making, teachers need to have a voice and be heard with all things throughout the school. So that is the current gap analysis. All right, and so this is an action plan of things to consider for us to get the ball moving here at HJ and improving these areas. Alright, so the first thing to improve for teacher empowerment and school leadership, increase teacher participation in the school-wide decision making. An idea that we could use is to form a budget committee so that teachers have a voice when we're trying to figure out how to use the funds for the school. Admin will be responsible for creating that team. And then I said that the team probably should be created before the end of the semester so that it's in place for the spring when it's time to make decisions on how to use the money. All right. For teacher empowerment, we could create an interview committee. Again, admin will create that team. We'll have a team of teachers that sit in on interviews. They'll be coached on the interview process, and then have evaluation tools to screen the applicants for HJ. And again, probably should be created before the end of the semester so that that is in place when we begin hiring for next school year. School leadership, I feel like we should increase the observational walkthroughs and use some of those relay strategies that we used last year. The admin team and the SIP team will be responsible for that. Basically by creating a walkthrough checklist, which we have one, but maybe put some tweaks in place for that. And that should be done before the beginning of Q2 so that they can be completed weekly. As far as facilities and resources, we need to focus on keeping the building clean. A fidelity checklist to make sure that our custodial staff is really clean in their focus areas. Make sure the bathrooms, classrooms, hallways, and the cafeteria is clean. Again, put in place before Q2 so that that can be completed weekly. And then for time, increase non-instructional time for teachers and decrease the amount of routine paperwork. All right, so this can be done by creating a duty-free lunch schedule. We'll obviously need some support there so that we can have adults in the building to supervise the kids if we do have duty-free lunch schedule. Have PDs and meetings on the required work days and not so many throughout the week if we can. And then creating more spreadsheets that can help minimize the paperwork so that teachers aren't actually having to do so much paperwork. All right, and do you guys have any questions or feedback? Yes.
You did a very good job with rolling things out, and I think everything was clear and well said. So good job.
I agree.
Anybody else?
When can we expect these changes to
So
come into place?
if you go back to the recommendations, as you can see, there's an implementation timeline for each action step. And so some of them will be like before the end of the semester, so they're in place for the spring semester. And then some of them should be set in place before Q2 so that they can roll out in the next couple of quarters.
That's great.
And this artifact can also be used when we're preparing for the next school year, since you were saying about Q2, because all of these things will play in effect. So
Really good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you guys.